Hello?
Hello. Wait.
From across the pond in the United Kingdom, the west coast of Orange County, California, from the Pacific perspective to the Atlantic perspective, from liberal craziness to conservative idealism, from Christianity to atheism belief systems. Welcome to the TheGrayZone RoundTable with Rectify and Wingman at Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com. Revolution Radio at FreedomSlips.com.
What's up, Revolution Radio? All the good peeps out there. This is Rectify. This is the TheGrayZone RoundTable. Happy Tuesday morning, most of the world. Happy Monday night, my part of the world. This is April 22nd, 2014, and it just got started. I mean, we're going through some chaos this month. I can feel it. The tension is building. My wingman, and speaking of tension building, nowhere to be found, so I got to excuse him tonight. He's MIA, but I've been graciously joined by Dorriebar, Steve Travesty, and Lioness, Miss Julie. So hello, folks. How you guys doing?
Hello. Good evening to you.
Welcome.
We're here.
Howdy.
It's an open roundtable. Let me throw out the numbers so you can get some people calling. 347-688-2902. 347-688-2902. That's the Freedom screen. We've got a couple YouTube channels. I want to throw out The Gray Zone. It's all one word with an A for gray. The Gray Zone, and you can find us on YouTube. Free Revolution Radio and Talk Revolution Radio. Those are the three channels I want to throw out. And then always thank you, Noreen. Wild at Heart Roundtable right before us for the props. You kick ass. So. With that, man, I heard you guys had that girl that claims she had her DNA mastered for the entire sheep project, the Dolly project. What's up with that girl?
That's Cindy Brewer, and she's actually a pretty smart woman. I do know her. She's just still kind of heated about what they did to her, which was pretty bad. I grew up learning a lot of things about that, reading about that project for many years, and so I knew what she was talking about when she brought it up.
So, Bill Grant, ladies and gentlemen, he came in just a little after I introduced everybody else. So
this is Julie, and I agree, Bill. I agree. She is full of knowledge. She's got a lot to offer. I think that maybe we're past the legal point with the Bundy situation, and now it's time to actually show up. There needs to be bodies there. They've been doing the legal thing for 20 years. And I don't know, Rectify, if you want to go right back into this or not, but that's my 2 cents. That's all.
I find it interesting. I don't necessarily believe what she says, but she's definitely angry about something. So, yeah, I mean, go for it.
Well, she's very intelligent. She's very knowledgeable. I agree with everything she has to say. I just don't know if this is the time for it. I think this is the time to show up in numbers.
Me too.
That's what I think.
For the country's sake, it needs to be out in the open. It can't be another hidden sort of thing that passed under the table that went nice and smooth. All these things keep happening. They need to be exposed. We need to be all aware of how to handle this. And Cindy was right. I think she's right. It may have gone that way, but they're going to use some kind of psionic weapon against her, some kind of scalar beam or whatever eventually in the end, or they're just literally going to kill him. Period. That's what they're doing everywhere all the time. It's not just Bundy. Who knows what they did to those other ranchers?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if they can just bring out tobacco and dig mass graves and just start killing bulls and burying them, I mean, they're not even using the meat, for God's sake. I mean, come on, these are some shady people.
Yeah, big time. Just idiots.
It's the world we live in, man.
Graves of the
All
bulls,
about the bottom line is profit.
That's the ones that were carelessly killed. Those bulls were not supposed to just get slaughtered. They were supposed to go to auction. Probably a Monsanto auction.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Monsanto, it wouldn't surprise me if Monsanto had a hand in this. It hasn't been mentioned anywhere, and I just want to say, somebody do some research and see if Monsanto had a hand in the fate of the cattle. I'd imagine for the fate of the cattle, it's probably a residual role. But other than that, they probably don't have anything else to do with it, because we all know this had everything to do with a solar deal for a Chinese company.
Yeah, and even if that was true, which it is, I'm sure, no problem there, but it doesn't matter. See, federal land to me doesn't exist except in cases where there's land, they go to make a deal, they pitch the deal to the governor and the people, everyone votes about it, it's in the papers, it's in the news, and they say, well, this is what we want, this is your benefit, it's your money, if we use your money this way on your land, you will be the beneficiaries.
Well, they always do that. There was some precedent that did that way back in the day. I mean, this is Nevada. I mean, we're talking about the place where they tested every freaking bomb that wasn't tested over the ocean, every freaking H-bomb and A-bomb, where they've been testing UFOs for ever and ever and ever. So, I mean, come on.
Right, but I mean, but everything should have come out. Like, these people are tied to it monetarily, like the governor, of course, and Chinese or whatever.
Yeah, the Chinese, definitely. They want the land. You know that.
Yeah.
This isn't about grazing laws and stuff like that. That's just not even in the cards.
Well, yeah, the federal government needs a way of paying off this ridiculous debt that they've created, and they have to pass off that debt to us.
Give them a bridge.
They
San
don't
Francisco bridge. Have a Golden Gate bridge. Give them a bridge. They sell everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Leave the poor, the horse guys alone. There's farmers. Leave them alone. They're cattlemen. Leave them alone. We have nothing left.
I don't care if they put a bunch of windmills out there, as long as we can still settle the land, and everyone can have cows. I don't think anyone should own any certain amount for, maybe a limited amount for cows.
Right, but why that area? Come on, you guys. Think about this. We know we've been duped before.
Chickens, a couple wheat plants.
Right, it's not about the cows or anything else. There's minerals or something under there. There's something under that land right there. That in there, that's what they do.
They want to extend another base, have some tubes come out for air or whatever.
Whatever it is. There's something under that land or whatever it is. Think about it. In your wildest dreams, Stargate,
no doubt.
Think of the wildest dreams. What is underneath that?
That's
right there,
the most wretched land as far as the topsoil goes.
Right, exactly. So why is it so bad?
Well, look, if they've been there for as long as they say that they've been there, then probably the only thing under there would be something militarily, as far as anybody would know, because because they wouldn't have they wouldn't have an assessment of the land from the top, because if it's always been private land, that means they've never had an inspector go in, like a geologist, to take ground samples or whatever. At least not one publicly. Maybe while Cliven was asleep one night in 1972, some
they went and took
agent, real quiet, did some digging. But I doubt that's good enough. It would have to be an extensive research project. So the thing is, they don't really, they wouldn't know if there's anything under his land unless it was something deep under his land that was come across while, building their rail system or something for the dumb bases.
Well, Steve, they could have done it in many different ways. There's many different ways to see what's under that land without ever even going anywhere near that land. They know what's under there. There's mineral rights, there's plenty of water, and besides the fact that Harry Reid's already gotten involved and his son's involved, and it's all about a Chinese solar thing, But you're right. It's just as far as
Come on, you believe
it's
that?
in prime.
Lower
It's
thing?
in prime territory for underground base.
What is it? The
Something
X-57B, that secret
Right,
drone
right,
that
right.
flies up in orbit?
Right,
Yeah.
there's something going on there.
It's all of the above. It's all of the above.
Right.
And they just want the land. The primary reason is they just want to buy off more and more land that we cannot occupy. The federal government bought that land for the purpose of being settled by whoever felt like settling it. That's why they bought it. That is its purpose.
That was a homestead back in the day. Have you ever driven to Vegas? I have. Have you ever driven to Vegas, like the back roads? You see the homesteads?
Really?
And
Yeah.
my mother was like, what are those? I'm like, they're homesteads. I read about this in
Yeah.
school when I was in the East Coast. We read about homesteads. I haven't seen a homestead, but I'm like, that's a homestead. Have you ever driven to Pahrump, Nevada? You knew it was underwater. You knew this town was underwater. We're driving through it, and it looks like alien spaceship. I swear to God, that they had these mounds with windows and stuff in it. They were made out of sand or clay or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, yeah.
I took pictures of it. And I said, oh, my God. So I came home. It was like 2 nights after I came home from Pahrump. And I'm looking at my pictures, and I blew them up on my internet. There was a light beam coming from one of these domes that I took a picture of, going straight up into the sky. And everybody freaked out. And I said, do you see this? I thought it was, well, you can't see it in the picture. But if you blew it up, you saw the light beam coming from that dome up into the sky. So who lived underground in the water back then? And that's where they lived. There's so much more going on than we even know. I'm fascinated. I think it's great.
Sure.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fascinating
Let's
to
say
me.
this much though. Look, the secrets go without saying. Yeah, there's going to be secret reasons why they wanted the solar plant for like military industrial complex stuff. But what we do know, what we can show people, what cannot be denied is all these public reasons that are still wrong and still have that face value moral argument of this is a piss poor reason to kill people and kill cattle. And forcibly do this, that, and the other thing to them. That's a big part of this, and that's a big part of the narrative that's been forced out now, because now this has gone purely beyond the cattle. See, the cattle was a pretense which would have forced him to move. Taking away his cattle would have taken away his
Their livelihood. Exactly.
Would have been
Absolutely.
forced to move to Reno or
Yep.
Las Vegas or something to live in a city and to no longer live off the land, to take another person who was connected to the earth and disassociate them from the earth, which is the way that the that the cabal bloodlines have been working.
Right.
since-
There's no repercussion for this, though, Steve. You know what I mean? There's no repercussion.
Well, check
But
this
that's
out.
the only thing we have left.
I got a story. Nevada lawmaker says U.S. should expect Americans to, quote-unquote, fire back. Nevada Assemblywoman Michelle Fiore recently expressed her support for law-breaking rancher Cliven Bundy. See, they're saying law-breaking. I don't believe that. She also said that the U.S. government should expect Americans to, quote-unquote, fire back.
Well,
During an
that
interview
did
with
not meet their
MSNBC.
expectations.
With Chris Hayes on Friday, Fiore was asked if she recognized the authority of the federal government. She says, I recognize our federal government has overstepped and overreached in our state of Nevada, said Fiore. That's what I recognize. I recognize we have a lot of issues to conclude. We also have the spotlight on Nevada right now, which is ironic because that's the city in which Mr. Dirty Harry lives, is in Spotlight, Nevada. But I'm recognizing this was handled totally incompetent, and I'm questioning the BLM. Fiore added, don't come here with guns and expect the American people not to fire back. So, yeah.
If you catch the archive of Sean David Morton's show today, the entire 5.5 minute interview / argument that she has with Chris Hayes, with all that content in it plus more.
Right. Well, that's an earlier audience.
On there, you can catch it around the top of the hour.
Yeah. It's like a 6-minute clip. I don't want to go and play that during a roundtable. But yeah, I mean,
But that's why
different audiences at different
That's why I'm
times.
referencing it for people for later when it gets uploaded to YouTube or the archives.
Right, and you can find
Yeah.
Talk Revolution Radio. That's the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well-
you're crazy. You're going to like this one, Steve. Pot vending machines to be debuted. They're going to be put up in Colorado soon. We're going to have pot vending machines. Avon, Colorado, April 13th. Colorado company
Denver
has introduced the first ever marijuana vending machine, which will soon be put to use at a dispensary in Eagle/Vail, Colorado. The so-called Zazz machine, that's Z-A-Z-Z, was produced by Stephen Shearing's company, The American Green, and was delivered to the Herbal Elements Dispensary Friday. The dispensary debuted the machine to the public outside Montana's Smokehouse Barbecue. Perfect place, right? Right outside a barbecue joint. Restaurant in Avon on Friday. We're looking forward to using the Zazz machine to easily track all this inventory. We're going to eliminate the middleman. It'll go straight from the bud tender, they call it a bud tender, right to a machine. There's no room for theft by patients, employees. There's no way to lose track of the inventory.
I hope he has good advice.
Owner Greg Honan said. The machine includes technology that requires users to swipe their driver's license to verify their identity and age. Multiple cameras attached to the machine make sure the person swiping the card is the same person depicted on the card. They would swipe their driver's license, at which point multiple cameras would allow us to use some advanced biometrics to make absolutely certain that that person who swiped the card is the owner of that card. That's kind of...
there's so much police state involved with that, it just takes all the love out of the idea. Like what happened to just
Killed
like, a typical kind of like, cigarette box type vending machine?
Right, pull the dang pull.
Yeah, today I just noticed there's a fingerprint thing on the counter at the bank. Like, what's that for? They're like, oh, that's for people cashing other people's checks.
Oh.
No, like they have to...
For a while.
I sort of seen it before, but I never read it, and I never needed it, so I can understand their point of view, but it's unnerving.
Go with the credit union if you can. Screw the banks.
Yeah.
I am.
My credit union treats me so good. I've been with it for almost 2 years now. Never had any ridiculous fees. I've sat there with like $1 in my account forever, and they don't charge me for not having enough money.
Right.
Credit unions are run so intelligently.
Oh, you're reminding me. Inside, you know how they have banks inside shopping stores now, in front of everybody. You're not like a bank waiting to get hit by some robber or whatever. Pull up. They got the signs all over the place asking you to not wear a hat and sunglasses. I mean, this is too much for me. I'm sorry, it's over the top for me. To take off your hat, you can't walk up to the counter without taking off your hat in a major store in front. It's just like a little convenience booth anyway, if you know what I'm talking about. It's not like a big giant bank in the first place. It's too much security. That's asking too much.
Well, you're a thought criminal right off the bat, man. I mean, that's the world we live in.
Oh, that's a given.
Just the mere fact that you have a problem with that makes me want to arrest you, Bill.
You need to be like Superman at times like this in the last movie or two, where the handcuffs just sort of fall off when he just sort of moves.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, let's face the facts. It's just like, you're scared of me because I'm more powerful than you, and I always will be.
Exactly.
That's probably that was probably how the first conversation between Dwight Eisenhower and the Nordics went.
All right, here's another crazy article, guys. Powdered alcohol is approved by U.S. regulators. Powdered alcohol, it's called alcohol, is soon to hit the shops in the U.S. and abroad after the U.S. Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, the TTB, approved it for sale. Alcohol is produced by the Arizona company Lip Smart and will come in 6 flavors: quadruple distilled vodka, Puerto Rico rum, cosmopolitan, mojito, margarita, and lemon drop.
Does it come with a powdered worm at the bottom? Or?
Drinkers just add water to the powder to produce an instant cocktail from a single sachet. Lip Smart are adamant to point out that the powder should be consumed in a responsible and legal manner, and they have added volume to the powder to try and prevent people from choosing to snort it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm sure that's going to outsell, time-tested craft of the brewery. Ridiculous.
This world.
Dory, you're gonna have to.
Kids are doing the thing called butt chugging these days, right?
No, what now? What
You know
now?
what's
What are
really
these freaking
good?
kids doing?
Angry Orchard. Oh man, if
It's
you have
like a
that-
funnel in the other
Yeah.
end and alcohol being poured in.
No way.
Yeah, so it's not the
Seriously?
breath. Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
They said they were snorting alcohol and it got them drunker faster. That's what we heard in the news tonight. I don't have a TV, but at my mom's condo, I'm like, we're like watching this. My husband said, now do you know why we don't have TV in our house? He goes, they're snorting alcohol. I said, yeah. And they're snorting those pills, you know, if you have ADD or what do you call that?
The Ritalin.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
snorting Ritalin. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, that's just
Seriously?
speed.
And you can do it legally on a counter somewhere out in public.
Imagine.
Well, maybe not the alcohol, but
With a
Oh, actually, maybe
prescription,
not.
right?
Oh my God. What
I
happened to us? What happened to us? I want to know what happened to us.
The damn parents. They
We
had
were
to
the cool
work too
cats.
often.
We ate pizza and hot dogs and stuff, and we drank beer, and we got high once in a blue moon. Did a lot of coke. Most of us did. But we didn't do stuff like that.
We had block parties. We knew our names.
Yes. We never drove. We never drove drunk. We always stayed at our friend's house. That's the way it is.
Right.
We didn't have
You
babies
never
at
drove
12
drunk?
years old.
I
Oh,
never
back
drove
east I
straight.
did. Well, I drove with drinks to my car back east. I know all the
I'm only
cops.
kidding.
Well, you know what I mean. Back east, it's a different story. Come to California, you just can't get away with it. You can't. It's like back east, we had like the little side roads and stuff, you know. And I knew all the guys that I went to school with. They're all cops. And they're like, "Really, you're gonna pull me over? You're driving 35 and a 15." I'm like, "Seriously? I got to bet. What am I
You
supposed to do?
rolled
20
through a
miles an
stop
hour?
sign.
I didn't roll for anything. I just went through everything. Red lights, everything. I just wanted to go
Oh
home.
yeah, forget them. Forget them. See, they never caught me. They never actually caught me doing anything I actually did. They always actually illegitimately gave me tickets that I never should have had.
Yeah,
But I used to drive. You know. So I used to
Don't
go
go to
through red
different
lights.
town
and-
back east.
sick of. The last 2 times I got pulled over was fucking freaking.
Whoa.
Freaking-
Oh, he
Guess who we got? We got my wingman. He showed
Wingman.
up. Look
He
who's
woke up,
here.
is what he did. He didn't show up, he woke up.
Welcome, brother, to the show.
Baby was sleeping.
You're
so handsome,
Yeah,
you
the
could
story
say
about
what you
that.
want.
Sorry, sir.
Don't worry about it.
It was the clocks. The clocks
Clock.
went forward.
It was the clock.
Again?
Yeah. Blame it on the clock.
I've used that one.
All of your
a
clocks
mouse,
are wrong?
No?
a mouse chewed through my network cable, and I had to drive to the 24/7. Have another network cable. Oh, it was just traffic everywhere.
Yeah, it was
And
awful. Awful.
I got
You were
back
sleeping.
to
Tell the
the
truth.
Full moon, high tide.
No, I think
Wind
that's
blowing,
the.
It was freezing. He walked uphill both ways.
Exactly, yeah. It was awful. It was just awful, I tell you.
No, I did that thing where I got up at it's half an hour before show, and I thought I'll just put another 5 minutes. Another 5 minutes mistake, you know how it goes.
I know, we've all been there. But hey, we
you
love
made
you.
it, and we're worried about you.
Yeah, and 5 minutes in England is how much is that over?
2 hours at
It's
least,
like
Bill.
some sort of
2
meeting. or
hours at
something.
least.
But you
So
want
he's in the skinny.
to see 5 minutes in Spain. 5 minutes in Spain is like
It's our first night, quote unquote, competing with the Jacker on B, and you were late, man. Come
Look at his
on.
dead ear, so
Is
we're really not
Jacker-
competing with anything. His ear is dead, I
Well,
heard.
that's how he puts it.
Damn.
He puts it as competition. I
Well, it
just
could be
laugh.
competition if he was talking, but he has dead ear, so I don't think anybody's talking over there.
No, he's there. I just.
Oh, he's there now? Yeah, but he was dead air for like a half an hour.
Good luck, man. Break a leg, hijacker. Most of us love you, man, even though you can be a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
Good
definitely.
luck, man.
He's a good
Definitely.
guy. Great heart.
Yep,
You know.
he definitely does have a great heart.
So who have we got here today? We've got Dory,
Hi, babe.
Lioness,
Hi.
Steve.
and of course the Bill.
And Billy.
The Bill and Steve Areno.
Julie's
Hello.
filing her nails or something.
Cheers.
Oh, you can hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll mute.
Yeah. Travis here is like totally into audio, man. Don't you know that by now? I know into like, I like totally mute. You know when he's into
Me
audio.
and Travis here are both musicians, so we get
Yeah,
really
both of you
anal when
are
it comes
same
to
way
that.
with anal with
Yeah.
video and audio and all that stuff. Yeah, we gotta be very careful.
Yeah, music like your musical and electronical that which
Very
rectify works with both well, and I look at you as the rectifier. That's like my little word for you.
I rectified some dead air the last couple nights, so I guess.
Hey, Bill, did you get those free energy device links I sent you? I just wonder what you thought of them.
I may have, but I haven't really been on Facebook nor once. My Skype crashed days ago, and I just said to hell with it. I got sick of trying to re-get everything back, and I had too many things to do. I was mildly depressed and angry, and kind of needed to just watch some movies if I had free time.
Just mildly depressed then.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm really sick of seeing what I see and knowing what I know, because I still am far from convinced we are winning. And, of course, people like Steve Travesty here, he does help me with that. But I also, very smart, very, very smart, Steve. I agree with most you always have to say, but at the same time, you know, you're still young, and I hate to even say that. It's, you know, you haven't seen, I've seen the same thing you did many, 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 many years ago, and it didn't change anything. It only got worse. And I keep bringing up the 70s, which was a wild time, high hopes.
The time when everybody was asleep. Dude, look, I'd have as dark a perception and an outlook as anybody else if we were pre 9/11. Honestly, things are so effing different right now with everybody and their mother's awareness level. It doesn't have to be as super aware as like, oh, it's that moment where you realize that the Nazis are the Americans and the aliens are the angels and yada, yada, yada. It just has to be the revelation of just like how little you can trust these people and what they are capable of. And, you know, the actions keep getting shown day to day. More people are listening to the station day to day. More people are changing their behavior because they want to listen to what we have to say day by day. And it's completely gumming up their works because they can't control time the way they used to, because they can't control time unless they can control the behavior of the masses.
I have to admit, like, my hope level is not as high as it used to be maybe 8 years ago. But I still have some hope. I still see people waking up. I still have people asking me questions, you know, new people waking up, asking me questions finally. And it's kind of like, yeah, you're like facepalm, like, oh, it's about time. But at least there's still emotion going forward, so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's everybody's meant to wake up at the same time. I don't think that's why we're here. Remember what I told you guys? It's like, you know, when they said, well, they wrote in the Bible that some leave and some stay.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all stay. I said some of us leave because we woken up. Leave like that mentality level, you know, or that whatever abyss that we're in, you know, the fog. And some stay still stuck in the same thing. I don't think we actually leave our physical bodies. I think some have actually left the planet, but I think that's what it is for us. But then the ones that aren't awake, you're like, I have no patience, you know, and I'm trying to be so kind. I really am. I do everything I can to be kind.
That's an excellent thought. I mean, I probably would have never realized that could have been one of the interpretations.
It took me years to think that, and I said, I don't think we leave. I think we leave our mentality level behind, so we actually leave something. You know that, right? And then you're awake, and then the other ones aren't. They're still asleep, paying their taxes, going to work 9 to 5, doing whatever they have to do, and like they actually leave us, because your friends do leave you. The friends that are still in the Matrix leave you. You're not making money anymore. You're not rich. You don't have a big house. Everything. They just. Yeah, they actually go away from you slowly. And I just ended it with everybody just to make it easier, because it was like, look, I don't have a maid and a cook anymore or a big house. So, you know, I'm going to leave you ahead of time because I know I'm into this. I knew ahead of time I was going through it. I didn't like it. It wasn't because of the money part. It was because I didn't want to upset my family. It was a family thing with me. I'm Italian, and, you know, it's a big family thing. And, you know, you have to be proud you have a house. You have to be proud you have businesses or properties or whatever. And it was a family thing. It wasn't me. I couldn't care less if I lived in my car. It really didn't matter.
It was more of your title.
Yeah, basically. I just felt bad for my family. Like, they can't talk nice about me, saying, oh, Dory's doing this and Dory's doing that. She's doing great, making all this money and stuff. I didn't care about that. I cared about my mom. And I cared about, well, when my sisters asked me, what do you do? What am I going to say? I said, tell her I do whatever I can for the
Kind of have
service.
to have a lot of pride. I mean, that's
Yeah.
evident. That's
Oh,
fine.
absolutely. But you have to understand, if you're not from that kind of background, this would never fly back
It's a
east.
shocker.
If I lived back east, there's no way I could have done it. I would have had to stay in the Matrix and be out of the Matrix at the same time. I think there's a lot of people doing that, that go in the Matrix and out at the same time. I couldn't do it. I actually just cut it off completely.
Yeah.
Which is
welcome
really
to the
sad.
West, Dory. Welcome to the West. This is where we can be ourselves and have uprisings if we
Westworld.
want.
It is.
Got a
but
lot
it's
of libtards around us, but we can deal with them.
But I
We-
tell you
you
what,
know-
then why us though? Why us? Can anybody answer that? I mean, Steve Travis, I'm sure can answer this question, or Billy.
How about this?
Yeah,
Some
unfortunately.
interesting
I do.
insight. May I take a moment to share with you a dream I had?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to give you my quick interpretation of that dream as well. All right, so here we go. Let's say it as fast as possible because this was a very highly involved, detailed dream. You guys are going to find this very fascinating. So I have this dream that I'm at this outdoor kind of social event, kind of like a barbecue of sorts. It's nighttime. Some people that I'm familiar with or whatever. Nobody that I'm familiar with in the real world, but they're familiar to me in the dream. And then all of a sudden there's a sense of urgency. There's these government-type people that are kind of telling everybody to get indoors. We're under attack, effectively. And so we all get inside, and I look up at the sky, and there's I see an alien spacecraft with these dual laser beams that are kind of like having this fight in low Earth orbit that we can see from the ground. Spectacular battle. It's very loud and aggressive. It lasts for a very short period of time, and these alien aggressors win, and they take the entire planet Earth. The entire planet. And they round us all up and arrest us and put us on a big prison ship. A big prison ship, including myself. So there I am. I'm on this big prison ship. I'm in the initial cell room. It's this very, very small room. It's not tall enough even for me. There's not enough headroom for me to stand up straight. And the whole interior of the ship is lined with these things that I call smart cubes. They're about 1 meter in size, like 1 meter squared, and they can change color and texture, and they can have these parts that kind of protrude out of them. They don't really change shape per se, but they have things that pop out of them that can kind of fine-tune, for the environment that they are replicating, if you will. They're there to be an environmental change situation. And one of the walls, the smart cube panels, disappear to allow me to get out. And I go and I run into one of the people that I knew from the social gathering, except she is one of the beings that are associated with the aliens that have put us on the prison ship, and she's talking to me, explaining to me that everybody here was arrested, and the whole reason she was there was to be part of the society to help facilitate the ushering everybody into the prison ships. So she was a deceiver, and she looked human before, but now she doesn't look human at all. She doesn't even look humanoid. She's like this weird kind of like amalgamated kind of like face-looking thing on the wall that's talking to me. I'm like, ugh. And so then I walk out to the common area where there's a small section of Earth's population is hanging out. The smart cubes are arranged in a way to make it have a general kind of appearance of an outside kind of area with like hills and whatever, and there's no fooling you that you're inside. You can see the ceiling, even though the ceiling has the smart cubes looking textured like the sky and clouds, and it looks like daytime. But I'm intermingling. I come across a group of people that are dressed up like kings and knights, like in a Game of Thrones kind of situation, that are kind of like together as a clique. To protect themselves, like any prison would, they get together into a social group, and they like me for some reason. I earn their respect. Getting close to the end of the story, so no worries here. I then run into a guy who reminds me of Wolverine, as in Hugh Jackman. He looks like Wolverine from the X-Men movies, and he wants to show me this cool spot that he found. on the opposite side of the area, which is like this area that's nighttime in appearance, and it looks there's like a cave, and it's kind of empty in this whole spot. And he kind of shows me this cave is like his hangout that he's kind of had fixed up into a little kind of like home-ish kind of situation. This is the one and only time where anybody who I would call like a prison guard shows up, and I kind of bug out, and I run inside the cave, and I kind of hide in a closet for a minute, which doesn't do me any good, because moments later, the guard, with I think was some sort of a guard dog, finds me. I never get a good look at the guards for some reason. Like, I can only like really see them from the waist down. Don't get a face. I don't know what kind of creature they were, if they were like human-looking aliens or something like that. And I'm taken up to an area where there's this very tall, elegant-looking woman. And she's human-looking, but she's not human. She's one of the, she's kind of like a warden, if you will, for this section of the prison ship. And while we're there, I just look at her, and I'm just like, listen, what you're doing here is wrong. You have indiscriminately arrested everybody on Earth. And you do realize that some of us are actually in contact with various other aliens, right? And she kind of looks at me, doesn't know how to respond to that, and kind of dismisses me from her presence. I intermingle for a few minutes, and then I'm summoned back to talk to her. When I come back, she looks at me and she tells me, all right, listen, you're getting out of here early in a few days. We had a talk with your friend Bashar. And then it was shortly after that I woke up. Now, let me tell you what I think happened right there. What I think happened is that I had a view of Earth's past in the sense that we are a prison planet. I think that at the same time, I was shown a vision from another perspective, seeing how prison planets are effectively run. And then, furthermore, there is an aspect of validation, which has been a sense of mine for a while, that I have some sort of an astral relationship with the entity known as Bashar, who is known as the channeled entity of Daryl Anka.
Whoa, dude, this is getting deep. Have you ever seen that movie Escape Plan?
Oh, yeah, I've seen
Daryl, though.
It's the prisons that are on big barges, like how Google has built, 3 big barges now on the oceans?
That's a party boat.
Yeah, a party boat.
They're
in international water, so there's no true jurisdiction over them. They can do whatever they want. They're like floating Guantanamos.
On Diego Garcia, they use an oil tanker as a prison, exactly like an Escape Plan. I mean, it's in dock. It's not actually out in the ocean, but it might as well be.
You know what kind of experiments they do out in the ocean on people?
Sure.
Oh my God, I don't even want to get into it.
I wonder why Steve is into that, though. I wonder why his soul goes to that aspect. Like, my soul went to another planet. I know it, but they look just like us. They had wrinkled clothes, and I'm very anal retentive. Their clothes are wrinkled. It bugged me.
Yeah.
Well, it really did. That's what caught my eye, because I'm like, have you been to Earth? I've been to Earth. I said to everybody, have you been to Earth? Like, oh, no, we can't. There's next on your planet. It's like, to go through that, after going through all this stuff we went through, all my training, everything else, I was never prepared for that. My consciousness wasn't.
Star families that.
Oh, absolutely.
And we all have different missions.
I wonder why you were a prisoner, though. Do you know why?
Deceptive astral projection.
He's an alien rapist.
Well, I wonder why he's a prisoner, though. I think because he's so smart, maybe because he talks on air, that's who he was. Like, whether he's in his astral, he's a prisoner, but he's got to be fighting for something.
Well, he
told me I was in the Air Force. Astrally.
The thing is, like, the aliens that run the prison industrial complex of the universe, they're neutral. That's why I was able to get out with the conversation that I had. They made they realized a mistake, and then I had a friendly envoy come for me.
I wonder why, though. Because I remember going into a room and I saw this doctor in a white lab coat, and he opened the door and I said, oh, no, I'm a sovereign soul. You can't touch me. And everybody else lined up to go into this room. I wouldn't go into it. And I came back like an hour later. In my dream.
Shots, get your vaccine.
Yep.
Flu
No.
shot.
And then I saw these white bodysuits with the heart chakra ripped out of them, like blood was coming out of the heart chakra. They all had like blood stains, like they were shot in the heart chakra. Energetically, it wasn't like a bullet or anything. And I said, thank God I didn't go in that room. They would have taken my heart away from me. Like I knew.
Buy one, get one free. Come
Right?
on,
I knew
Dory.
ahead of time, but they said nothing. When I said I was a sovereign soul, and I would never say that in a million years. Like, I would never even think I was a sovereign soul. You know, here on this planet probably, but I would never say that in my dream state. Ever say I was a sovereign soul. Like, where did that come from?
You just reminded me of what happened to me yesterday morning.
See?
And,
it all happens to all of us.
well, it was, not like that, but it was I believe, maybe literally, the Queen of England tried to entrap me astrally, and while I was
one of those, then you're one of them. I think we're all here differently. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But I said at the they were sort of trying to trick me, but I
has it out for you in the astral world.
No, they're part of a spiritual group or spiritual or ET group. Yeah, we're all different groups. But I think astrally, what Bill was doing, he went to the Queen side because that's what he is probably astrally. He's a totally different being. He's probably not human.
Well,
we have to get over it. Most of my friends aren't. So.
But I think, this might be, first of all, I am a blue blood, but second of all, the thing was, I was in the bank learning something I wasn't supposed to know, and I can't remember what it was, but it's monetary and it's soon, and it's a two-part.
$1 and you own a bank, you can loan out 100. That's what.
There you go.
Yeah, well, exactly.
But what do you see? Yeah, I think that's for all of our lifetimes. I think we all come back with some knowledge and we say, "Hey, this happened to me," but it doesn't mean it's going to happen to us.
Right,
as a whole.
But the thing is, in the end, they expected me to make an agreement with being, like, imprisoned in this little mini room, like as a minor offense, kind of like a short-term thing. But I said, no. Dream time, what happens in the dream astral plane is like a hypnosis command. It's a hypnotic suggestion.
Command. Not they could actually take your soul, but I think that's when you make your contracts. Because
they make and it's
they told me I was in the Air Force. If you ever saw me, I'm a total frou-frou. I dress beautiful clothes, my hair is done, my makeup's done, get a nice car. I definitely will my training. Thank you, Jesus, I have that training. But I'm like, Air Force? There's no way I would wear that stupid outfit. There's no way. It was just not me. But now, and then I remember saying to this guy, he goes, how did you graduate so early? And I said, oh my God, I had these extra credits. Now, if you know me, in school, I had extra credits with everything. I did it to graduate early. Always was the smartest one in the class. Always graduated early. I wanted out as fast as I could. When my car had to be paid off early, I paid the principal off and the interest way ahead of time. I always wanted to be ahead of the game. And when they said Air Force, I went, are you serious? Like, who are you talking to, Willis? I'm like, that's not me. Well, if you knew me, you'd know that there's no way I would have to do anything with government.
It's a total double take, right?
Yeah, but to see my fighting and see what I do in the astral, now I'm starting to get it. Now I'm starting to remember what I'm doing. I told you, my gifts just came back like 2.5 weeks ago. I remember 2.5 years ago when they said, we're taking everything away from you. It's a sabbatical. You need to be, like, regrouped. Like reprogrammed. I said, why are you taking my gifts away? I need to help people. They said, no, you'll be fine. You'll deal with it, but we need to regroup. We're all going through changes. And I said, well, what do you mean? Now, I had my house at that time, and I didn't know you guys at that time. And they said, there's going to be people coming into your life, and you'll be fine. They'll help you out. They'll make it through this hard time. And sure enough, you all did. I think it's like, you're here to do this beautiful mission, whatever it is. This is one lifetime, though, you guys. It's not like a million lifetimes. This is the first time we're ever on this planet. It's never going to happen. We've been here a million times. Whether our circle's in like 1,500 places or not, we're always going to be us. And we're always going to help each other. We always come together. Never forget that. We'll always show up at the right time.
Amen.
Always show up at the right time. I'll say, hey, when I'm in my 40s, I want Rectify as my best friend, and I want Billy as my best friend, and Nick, and Steve Travesty, and Lioness. Yes, I said your name.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like all of us.
Miss
So
Finger Filer.
It's just all of us. I think we all say we make this contract, and I think we're all going to come into each other's life at a certain point in time. I totally believe this. Because what I've seen and what I've done and what I've definitely seen with my friends who are very wealthy and they're still asleep, I'm not going to go there and preach. I'm not going to say, hey, there's Revolution Radio. I'm not going to preach anything to them because it's not their time. And if it's not in this lifetime, it's going to be the next lifetime. Some are not meant to be waking up. And I love when people say, everybody has to wake up, and they're so stupid, and they're falling asleep, and they don't know stuff. No, I mean, it's not our business to do that for other people.
Well,
Yes. Go ahead, babe.
Well, we should try, but, can't force them.
Here is one of the sad things that's going to be, because, we are coming through a cycle. We're in the gestation period of the culmination of the last precession of the equinox. With that being said, it's like within, most of our lifetimes is the time to get it right, because when the event happens, when the shift occurs, there's, people that are not going to be with it, with the shift. They're going to be hitting that head as a failure in their own consciousness. They're going to have to redo the whole cycle, either on this planet
Or another.
or the next planet.
Right, but whose fault is that?
Kind of like that's part of the whole deal with the dream. Is like
Yes, absolutely.
A cycle came to an end. The caretakers came through, made the mass arrests of the maddened masses to bring to the next planet, because that planet, it was time for their liberation, and that particular planet, everybody had failed.
I mean, I don't really know personally. I mean, psychically speaking, I got my gift back. I really don't give a shit about too much other than that because I get to help people again. But I mean, speaking from a spiritual point of view, I can't, make my mom believe what I believe. My mother's more psychic than I ever was. She had the power. I got it from her. It was, passed down generation. My grandmother, they talk about the witches and stuff. Back east is my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, me, not my aunts. It's skipped over generations. But I have to say what I see as a spirit person, a lot of stuff. I mean, I see so much anger and hate and baggage that it makes me cry every day. My husband's like, no, you can't cry. You have to help people. I'm like, you have no idea how much people are in pain because they take that crap with them. On a daily basis. We all take the crap with us, no matter what it is. Heartbreak or, you lost stuff or whatever you do. It's all material or it's, love or something. It's the worst feeling in the world. And I said, how am I supposed to help these people? And he said, you'll just do it. You just help people that want you to help them, Dora. You just have to do it. Well, for 2.5 years, I couldn't do anything. I had no psychic evaluation. Then I had to do it just being a human, which is worse, because I had to actually tap into them, which is a very bad thing, because being a human and not having any contact whatsoever in the spiritual realm, no help, because they talk in your ear. And I did it. I really did do it. I really know I help people, but now I got my gift back. I'm like, woohoo! Because if you have it, you know it. Oh, I'm so excited. And my husband goes, oh, Christ, here we go again.
The other way
she got it back.
To think deeper and really try harder.
But you get angry, too, because you get angry at certain people. Because as soon as you get awakened and get your gift back, people screw with you. Never fails. Someone's going to screw with you. They're going to piss you off and make you try to get so angry, and you have to compose yourself and not go to that place. And they will do it as soon as you get the gift back. It never fails. I'm trying not to.
Right. You just stay calm, and then they eventually calm down. But real quick, I just want people out there to hear my answer. As I was waking up, I made sure I physically felt my lips moving and my voice box say the word no. No was my answer to the Queen.
Right, yeah.
And I did not get bound. That would have been a contract of some kind. It would have been
on. You don't want to be part of
some
Lizzie's
kind
group?
of not necessarily to join. It was to be barricaded in this small room as a temporary punishment. But
they're running out of options, and you're probably one of the bloodline. So they're going to get you. They're going to get all of us. Whoever's
they're not getting
the bloodline.
Me.
You are. I think maybe Wingman might be too, but he's not going to talk about it. But
what would tell you Wingman's in the bloodline?
Well, because the part of the country he's in.
She can remote view.
Yeah, you're in a part of the country that you're actually there for a reason. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying he could
all
be.
British people are related to the Queen now.
No. That's not what I said. I just think when you're in that geological point, oh, we got to break this
Hold
up.
on to that thought.
See
We'll
ya.
talk about entities invading the subconscious.
Love you
This
guys,
is the
man.
Gray
It's
Zone.
awesome.
You're listening to Revolution Radio. Stick around.
Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Who owns you? If you're not in control, then someone else is. Join me, Ivy West, for Voices on the Wind, Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern in Studio A. I discuss government, health, metaphysics, suppressed science, universal mysteries, little-known incredible facts, alternative energies, and even more than you can imagine. Won't you join us on Revolution Radio Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern for Voices on the Wind with me, Ivy West.
There are lives in the balance, people under fire, children at the cannons.
Because if your head's in the sand, your tail is a target.
Hi everybody, it's me, the Fedge, host of Inside the Eye Live. Before the Sunday mainstream media political pundit talk shows, there is Inside the Eye Live, where we break down some of the weekly mainstream media talking points before the talking points even get aired. Add in some entertaining stories, weather, cats, intriguing and informative guests, and you get one of the most listened to Saturday morning streaming media political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me, the Fetch, for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
I have worked with the CIA, NSA, Templars, and Bilderbergers. Now I work for you. My show will disclose secrets of science and esoteric knowledge. Join me, Stephen D. Kelly, for 2 hours every Thursday night at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio, Studio A. You can also listen to previous shows by going to youtube.com/Free Revolution Radio.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific wartime this morning.
You're far stronger than we were 10 weeks ago.
All yellow corners, all hands man your battle stations. Emergency control. All of the minister around here.
Those who have not seen it do not know what hell looks like from the top.
Well, check it out every Tuesday and Saturday on Revolution Radio. It's a double dose of the internationally recognized renegade military historian Douglas Dietrich.
You'll stay right where you are till I tell you to move out.
Yeah, that's right. Tuesdays from 10 to midnight Eastern Time. Join Douglas Dietrich as he exposes the truth in hidden history on his show Critical Omissions. And then our human weapon of mass destruction is back once again to take your calls on Saturday Night Firing Lines. Both from 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Only on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. Revolution Radio. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Welcome to the TheGrayZone RoundTable, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. No corporate ties, corporate duct tape dictating our freedom of speech. It shall remain that way as long as we are supported by you. Join us, 347-688-2902. Enter the Gray Zone.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to listeners across the world. This is the part where we say, if you don't want dead air, then please do head on over to freedomslips.com, hit the support page. There is a donation button there. We need your money. Always need your money, but we're a bit short this month, so if you can, give us some money. And there's other goodies there like seeds and seed packages and things like that. And yes, so I think that's about it. We're talking about some alien experiences at the moment. Bill was talking about his experience with the Queen, and I just wanted to come in there also and say that I too, yes, I have. In fact, my mother is a spitting image of the Queen. She was when she was younger. She is now. She's like the evil, not the evil sister, but she's like the discarded sister. I'm sure she's part of the same soul group as the Queen, and but she looks identical. Even now, today, she still looks identical to her. It's quite scary, actually. But yeah, definitely the Queen Elizabeth is involved in quite a lot. I think, my opinion is that she's kind of like a layer. She's layered, so I think she's present in like several or however many realities, and has organised things accordingly. But yeah, there's definitely something sinister about her, and I have had entanglements of sorts with her, but I've tried to. In fact, the funny thing is, energetically speaking, or psychically speaking, if I think of any of the royal family, it creates a kind of psychic link, and I have to be careful not to. So yeah, so I do understand what you're saying, Bill. But yes, anyway, good stuff. I'm really enjoying the convo. Anything else to add, anyone?
Yeah, I didn't say you were like part of the Queen's, the debacle, but I'm just saying, you're part of that country. I think when we reincarnate, we can come back to the same country. Always.
Yeah, I don't know why I chose this country this time. Sometimes what I do is I put myself in really hostile situations to force me to wake up. So that might be one of the reasons. And I'll be honest with you, the UK is quite a snake pit, you might
Oh, it's a petri dish. Are you kidding me? I think you're more polluted than we are, which we are polluted. We know this, but I think in England, anywhere in England, never mind the energy that goes on in that country, it's very, very adamant. Like you feel it no matter where you go. I think, there's a lot I could say, I think about, but I'm just saying as far as the English people in general.
The impression of the English energy, to me, is very, very stiff. I mean, like, that's always, I mean, granted, that's like just the way the outside world kind of sees, English people, and, it's part of the core of the comical look that, like, Monty Python, for instance, has of England, the way that they make fun of themselves, because everything, like most of their comedy is based on, this is funny because stuffy people get uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you know that they make you have a TV in England? They make you have a TV in England.
I heard that before.
Yeah, it's like part of what they are. Like, well, that's a total mind program, but in general.
Yeah, but what it is you have to pay a TV license.
And yet
you have to pay for it. Look, did you hear what he said? A TV license. We're like, we don't even want to pay for freaking cable. Wasn't that free when I was young? I never saw my grandfather have a TV bill before, so I don't know.
Yeah, but dude, like, seriously though, like, in America, you don't have to, like, be, they don't impose television on you, and yet, however, the average household will have, like, 3 televisions.
At any cost, it's like
$160 a month when I was paying for minimal in South Carolina. Minimal, like, cable. Minimal.
Yeah. The first
no
thing a hobo
HBO
gets,
or anything else.
Yeah, the first thing a hobo gets as soon as he gets his first one-room apartment again after being on the streets is like a 6-inch TV if he can't get anything else.
A 6-inch TV. He gets cable. The bastard gets cable.
Internet should be free, though, for the same reason TV always was. It really should. It's an excuse.
I don't want to laugh, but, I know you guys don't know my husband, but I stopped making him watch TV, like, for a year. So I took all cable away from him, everything. We had everything. HBO, everything you think of we had. So we lived with my aunts. Pardon me?
Actually free. I mean, the TV was paid for. But it was, if it's already paid for, that money is coming from somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
But that dough is in control of the television.
Right, but you guys are so into, like, TV. All guys are into it, whether it's sports or whether they have to do. So I said to my mother, we're outside having a cigarette, and I watch my husband. My mom has cable at her condo that she rents. She's here for a month from South Carolina. That's her rental condo. It's her vacation house. And I said to my mother, watch his mouth open. So we're sitting there. He has the TV on. He's looking through the channel. His mouth is wide open, and he's so in alpha state at that point. And I said, do you see him getting, like, memorized? Do you see what they're doing to him? Literally, his mouth opened like 10 seconds, because they say count to 17 seconds. I didn't have to wait 17 because he was there.
You should have poured some beer in it.
I watched my husband's face change at that point. And we're outside watching him through the, the slider, the glass window. I watched my husband's face change in a matter of 5 minutes.
Well, my neighbor can't sleep without the TV on. If it
my mother can't either.
Yeah, if it shuts off, he'll
I don't want that crap in my house. Yeah, I don't want that crap in my house. I don't want it. I hook up my computer to the TV, get to watch shows from the night before. I will not pay for. I will not do it. I swear to God, I will not do it.
Sleep to Revolution Radio, but depending on the show, I have good dreams or nightmares.
But I mean, the commercials and everything else is a program.
That's what I do too. I've turned off the TV, but I do fall asleep to something every night, and it's usually Rev Radio.
Yeah, and since we called in, we know tonight's a horror sleep night for you, so
yeah,
nightmare night.
You're not going to nightmare nights because we're waiting up until the witch's hour ends, so we're all.
I should not be here.
I know. I wrote to him. Everybody can crucify me later, but I said, Bill, you got to help R3. Wingman is sleeping. He goes, what do you mean? No, I'm going to bed. I said, no, you have to show up. We're all going to show up for him. And I told Lioness the same thing. I'm like, he needs help. We're going to show up. He's family, damn it.
Yeah,
and we're going to help him. And all of a sudden, it was like, Rectified just added Billy. I'm like, really? You do? She just told me you're going to bed.
Unannounced.
Unannounced.
Billy's always got only 2 minutes, but then he ends up kicking back and having dinner with us.
Thank you, guys.
I get too heated sometimes to be able to fall asleep anyway, so I'm like, the hell with it, and I really do have to get going pretty soon, but Wingman, yes, don't let them link to you. But I wanted to say this in case anyone sort of might agree with me. If you've seen the movie Phantasm years ago, there's the tall man, and anytime I think of the Rothschilds, like specifically David Rothschilds and a couple others, that's who I think of. I just look at them as them. That's the tall man, David Rothschild. And he's literally interdimensional. I actually seriously think he might be. At least astrally.
You know this.
More of the Men in Black, though. That's sort of
Men
what
in Black are a whole different, different thing.
We're talking about the robotic Men in Black, the ones they believe.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen them once, only once in my lifetime, but I've seen them.
Just remember, the Men in Black are the Men in White. The Men in White are the Men in Black.
I've seen them. It was like a retarded face. It wasn't like they were so smooth that it wasn't normal. Like no expressional, no lines, no nothing. They were just like smooth white faces. No lips, no eyebrows. And then the funny part is they put like lipstick on their lips, and they have no lips, to make you think that they're there. They're lipstick. I remember watching in a dream. I remember seeing them.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing, but only like a couple times.
No eyebrows, though.
Well, that's in a dream. I mean, the Men in Black.
That was astral. It wasn't in a dream.
Really physically exist.
Oh, they physically exist. Absolutely. I think they come into dimension after dimension. If you're doing like, free energy, or you're making a car run on water or something like that, they show up.
There's the interdimensional aspect as well, but nobody's ever said that they ain't got no lips or whatever. They've said that they've got this like emotionless, soulless expression.
I had more people tell me that they paint their lips on with lipstick. You could tell when I'm a girl, so my lips are going to be perfect. They have big lips, by the way. And if you have,
they drink weird
lips,
too.
Yeah,
they drink
put,
weird.
Also, you don't have cable, you have DSL.
Who?
No, nothing. Listen.
Oh, he's like talking to someone else. Smart ass. But you know what I mean? No, I've seen them once in my dream and they never came back. I didn't do anything wrong. I think I just got woken really, really quick and I couldn't handle it. And that's when they show up. Like
they keep trying to see.
Push it.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, there was two guys in my bed. I was astral. I came back. I'm like, what are you doing here? And they're like, and I kicked their butts, kicked them right out my freaking sliding glass window. And they said, we're here to teach you courage. And this was when I was in my 30s. I'm 48 now. I said, courage? Like, what the hell are you doing in my house? I'm gonna kill you. And I said, who told you to do this? They go, him. And they pointed, and there's the Men in Black. I saw the guy looking right at me. I said, oh, hell no. I don't need courage. I'm way ahead of courage. I just kicked your butt, so I really don't need courage. So pick someone else, and don't mess with me. I'm done with it.
Dory, I think a family member of yours visited me and did some kind of, I don't know if it was for good or bad. It wasn't.
It would only be for good. Yeah, we're not
we're
not the bad ones, actually.
I
came to you in your dream. I knew your dream. I came to Rectify. He doesn't remember.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I didn't even know where Rectify lives. Actually, I went right to his house just to make sure he's safe.
That was
he's healthy.
I know I got guardian angels, and I appreciate
Yeah, but they sent me to your house. I don't know where I was, but I seen you sleeping. I didn't intrude. I don't do that private stuff. I've never seen what you guys are doing. I always do it like on a basis of kindness. It's not really out of malignant or...
No, the evil side can do it too, though, because when I had one of the agents that was around me back in the day, that was my old neighbor. Right after having relations with my wife, I got a text message. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning even, and right after the text message says, "Oh, you feel better now? Oh, wasn't that nice?" Something like that.
See, that's creep.
Yeah,
that's
and it's like, oh, you
I don't have
bastards.
to deal with that crap, but see, I wouldn't put up with it. I would fight them with everything I had. But that's a spiritual thing. But your training, you should know your training. You guys remember your training, and everybody's getting sick now, and your bodies are falling apart, and you're not remembering who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you guys. Remember who you are.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's part of the cycle we're going through.
You don't remember who you are.
We're like shedding
He
old
has those
skin.
dreams. He needs to remember who he is. He's so smart and intelligent. He really needs to know that nobody can mess with him. And if he's not standing in that line, he shouldn't be there. That means his soul was contracted to another deal. And now Steve doesn't want that deal. He wants to go to the other side like us.
Steve, you ever see the cartoon, the Japanese cartoon Akira? I'm sure you have. I'm pretty sure I've heard you.
Akira like 80 times. I have.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
That's like a little taste of who we are. That's who we are.
Exactly. That's realistically a taste of what they want to do with who we are. That is the story
So you think that's more transhumanist type of deal?
The star seeds.
But I mean the powers. I mean the expansive
exactly.
light, and
Yeah. Here, I'll explain for the audience real quick. As the otaku of the radio station here. All right, Akira came out in 1987. This is, in my opinion, the quintessential anime. This is the very first anime that I really watched. And made me an anime fan. It is the standard by which I judge all animes. It's this amazing movie about the Japanese government having a black top secret program called the Akira program, where they are basically trying to they're looking for special psychic children that they want to weaponize. They are weaponizing psychic children as basically psychic super soldiers. That's
Indigo
what
children.
In this story, they take there's a kid who is part of a street gang in an incredibly corrupt, decaying, industrialized fascist, Tokyo, in a post-World War III universe where they're trying to rebuild it, but their economy's falling apart. And the kid gets into an accident and gets in contact with an older generation of these psychics. He gets psychically tapped by it because he had the potential in him. However, he's a problem child with violent tendencies and a lot of emotional problems. So they put him in the hospital, in a secret government hospital. Well, the hospital's not a secret, but secret program in the government-run hospital where they drug him up and they run tests on him and continue to nurture his psychic abilities, meanwhile presuming that the psychiatric drugs they put him on are going to control him. And it's all about how they are playing God by playing with God's power tapped through the human potential, and unfortunately they picked the wrong and they couldn't control him, but at the same time he was in so much pain and anguish from how the entire world, including the government, treated him, that he channeled all of his angst into using his new godhood, his apotheosis, to kind of destroy the world. And that is what is happening in this movie. And it is a masterpiece. And it also, in many creepy ways, echoes the 2012 Olympics, which you have to watch the film to understand. I'm not going to tell you how, otherwise it would spoil it. And congratulations, to myself, I did not spoil this movie in explaining it to you.
Good job. Did anyone here ever read the letter from Heather?
I only keep hearing about it. I never got to.
She was a psychotraumatic scientist, if you want to call it that. So what they did is to try to get the perfect super soldier. So what they did is they went in and they took all their electrical systems out of their body and put, nano electrical systems in them. The first roundabout guys, and they would take these guys off the street. They actually kidnapped them. 20-year-old kids all buffed up and stuff, worked at the gym and stuff. And she said, I have to agree with what I've seen. She said some were running around in circles, walking in circles, crying.
I can see it. I can see it happening.
Because now your soul gets in. Now you know when you have a soul. And she said the second batch of guys were screaming so loud in pain. And she said, I have to agree. I know I'm doing bad, but I am a scientist. I know I'm doing wrong. She said, but I have to admit, birth is worse than dying. Because when they come through the canal and stuff, it's such a bad experience. And she said they were going because they didn't redirect their soul journey. They just redirect their electrical, systems and stuff. That these guys were crying and screaming so bad in pain because it went right back to birth. And that was the worst thing that she's ever seen in her life.
Well, that's the first cry when you're born. I was trying to write a song called The Last Cry years ago, but sorry to interrupt.
No, but she's not the first person who said that birth is the worst. But now we know, like, you come down to a third density, if you're a spirit being, imagine coming down to this hellhole. You know what I mean? I love Mother Earth, but I'm saying imagine coming down to this level of density. I respect where I am, but you're like, whoa, we're so high up, and all of a sudden
it's like, why aren't kids born with a smile on their face and laughing?
They used to be.
They
used to be. It's all changed. Everything's changed, honey. They do it in school. I used to talk to every 3-year-old I could. I said to my cousin, look, talk to your niece or your grandchild. She's 3 years old. She goes, what am I supposed to do? I said, ask her where she came from. Just ask her. Ask all 3-year-olds. Who were you before you came here? And you know what they say to me? A 3-year-old now, mind you. I'd rather not talk about the situation at the present moment. Really? A 3-year-old. Just said that to me. And my cousin witnessed it. I said, do you believe this shit? Oh, crap. Excuse my French. I said, do you see what they're doing? You have to get them before they're 6 years old. They said, so say it to her. So now, you have to understand, my grandfather was a St. John, and he married a McManus, which is Irish. My grandfather was English, who raised me. Took me away from my parents when I was young. And I'm Italian. So, it's a long story. But anyway, if you knew the fight between the McManuses and the St. Johns, you'd get the story. So, she said to my grandniece, she said, who were you before you were here? She said, were you a St. John? And that's exactly what she said to her granddaughter. She said, absolutely not. I was a McManus. And she was 3 years old. She doesn't know our grandfather and grandmother. No one's ever taught her that. She was 3 years old, did not know our grandparents' names, and she said McManus. I mean, come on. If you don't believe that we're reincarnated, we come down here to do whatever deed we have to, or recycle, I think, in our families, actually. On certain occasions, I think we come back.
Yeah, definitely.
But we have it all written down, Wingman. We have it all documented. All the kids I talked to all of them.
How about our pets? Do you think part of our family members maybe can come back into our pets?
No, I don't think humans or souls can come back as a pet soul, but I think pets pick you. I think it's something you need at that time or something, but I don't think a human can come back as a pet, quite frankly. It's my own.
One thing I wonder is if, you could be a wild animal out in the wild running from being eaten alive and in the rain and dying in a desert or whatever, or if you've already reincarnated many, many, many times and you just have to go through the entire cycle one last time, but you're good, you're already established, you're good, you're moral, but you just have to be reincarnated from animal back up to superhuman, super creature being. So let's say that person, that entity, soul, would go through all the animals, but they'd be the pets taken very well good care of each time, and then they'd die and they'd be a better pet and another pet and another pet. But let's say
because you're not understanding human form. You're not understanding the soul form.
Until you get to human, then you only go through the good human life.
Why would it be if you're a spirit being? Why would it be if?
Sorry.
Right,
how far does it stretch? Does it go all the way down to insect level or what?
Here, that's a good question.
Dirt level. That's still alive.
Here, check this out. Check this out. Especially often enough with a lot of animals, you will also notice that the more down in simplicity the organism that you get, which is kind of which is also kind of an allusion to noticing the level of consciousness. Like when you get down to like an ant, for instance, which is a drone, hive mentality, they work as a unit.
Yeah, as a team. Absolutely.
So think about it this way. There are a few animals that have such a level of consciousness where you probably could have a full reincarnation. Hear me out with all this. For instance, like dolphins, whales, hell, maybe even an elephant.
That's way smarter than us.
There you go, exactly.
It's way smarter than us.
I think that you could I don't like to use the word lesser, but with these more limited consciousness animals that don't have the same level of self-awareness, such as canines, felines, or ants or whatever. Imagine it this way. Many of us, I'm sure, are familiar with the Harry Potter series. And the Harry Potter series is one of the important plot devices was the Horcruxes. This is where Voldemort, our head reptilian con, when he died the first time around in the lore that created the story arc for Harry Potter,
the lure,
put his soul into these various items. One of the items he put his soul into was his snake, his pet snake, which was basically his familiar in wizarding terms. And
yeah, I've never seen Harry Potter.
You know, you haven't? Well, it's...
Oh, you gotta see it.
It's
pretty
fun
good.
stuff. It's fun.
But I don't think humans with souls have to go to the animal level. No, I don't think so.
Nonsense. Listen, hear me out. What I'm saying is that you can reincarnate into these animals, but you're only putting a portion of your soul in there. So it's quite possible, I believe, that you splitting your soul up if you're reincarnating as an animal. And then, like, you might be a wolf over here, but also part of your soul went over to this cat over here.
But it could be. But I don't think, like, a soul being, from what I know, like, psychically, I don't see that energy happening. You know what I mean? I've seen, like, animals, like, I remember my dog was, like, putting her, like, paw on my shoulder when I was crying.
Like, what if you're a weirdo and you put half your soul into a male cat and half into a female cat and you got them together and they had sex?
Yeah, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
I don't think that's possible.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way, because I work with Sean David Morton, and
I know.
Sean told me that his beloved cat that passed away 2 years ago, Shalou,
was it his grandmother?
He said that every single psychically inclined person that has ever been to Sean's home has met Shalou, has looked at that cat and instantly told Sean, like, listen, Sean, this is not any normal cat. Like, this is like some prince who's decided to take a lifetime off as a cat or something. Like,
I think they're like crucified for that. Like, I think if you're a warlock, you get crucified to be a cat.
This guy
shamans can do it.
Consciousness that decided to have a vacation for a lifetime as Sean David Morton's cat.
Do you think, actually, as a soul being, though, you'd want to come down as an animal?
No, but
they fight each other, they eat each other.
It may not have been his choice. He may have karmically been put there for some reason.
That has to be a low-level soul, though. We have to understand. We're here to uplift ourselves.
The Indian culture takes this as a matter of fact.
Hey, let's get Wingman on the mic. I want to hear Wingman's side on this whole thing.
Go ahead, Wingman. He's up now.
There is... just when you were talking about the cat there, it reminded me, I think, with regards to how you end up being a cat, there's like an energetic morphing that takes place and then suddenly, basically, you're a cat. And it's to do with the energies that are going on during your transition or whatever's happening within your own consciousness. And it basically forces you, in a way, it's like the universe pressurizes you into being that form. And I think the same goes with regards to the, moving transitionally from animal to animal. But I think there is an element of choice as well, because I do remember at one point I was thinking, what animal do I want to be next? And I have a lot of past life memories. So I think there's that aspect. But one thing that does concern me personally is, okay, yes, I've had several lifetimes on Earth, but why were they Earth? Why was another planet or another, a system not presented to me? And I think I failed to realize that at the time when I was recycling, so to speak,
Well, there's two reasons for that. It's either you're here to help, and you've either graduated from the class here, and wanted to come back, or you came in from the outside as a soul that was meant to be here to help, or you're part of the prison ship and your soul's not allowed to exit, and it immediately has to reconstitute back. That is the curse of the 13 bloodlines. That's part of the curse. That's why these 13 bloodlines keep coming back, here
Actually,
and now. They are part of an imprisoned situation.
But they work it, though. They work that. They do
Steve,
it. family members. Sorry, honey, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just in regards to those three choices, it's actually all of those, Steve. So initially I came to help, and I recall doing that. And then, and then I stayed. But now I do think, as a result of being duped into, or not duped, but making that choice, that now I am, like, part of the prison planet, part of the prison system. So I think it's actually all those things.
That's exactly what they told me.
Well, we have to, all right, here's the thing. For me, it's both. All right, when you're a new soul, everything's more or less an accident, or someone's doing it to you, but you're not making any realistic, or certainly not any well-informed choices. And it may just simply be scientifically automatic and just literally an accident in a planned series. But see, that's when you're just an animal and you've evolved up until human and then beyond human.
Are you seriously? You have to think about this.
Well, you start off as
be a soul
the
and
lowest.
come down. If you come down as human, that means you wanted to, or you're at the lowest level possible.
Well,
so
you
look
have
at the
to, you
rapists
have to
and killers
go
and
through-
stuff.
You have to go through every kind of thing from the lowest
That's
to
a
the
whole
highest.
different soul. An animal soul is different than a human. If you can't read an animal or a human being, it's a total different energy level.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is when we start out as a brand new soul from the very, very beginning.
Since when? Like from like a million years ago, or
it could be trillions of years ago.
Okay.
But you start at the lowest.
What is a year?
Well, like an
The
ape or
highest.
something? We came from an ape, or like,
No,
what
I
is
mean
it?
you have to literally start at whatever the lowest possible, whatever.
I don't
that
believe
really
that.
is.
I do not believe that. There's no way possible. If you're a living soul, living being, like you have free will, when you come down here, we forget all the crap that they said to us. Like, oh, we're going to come down here with no memory and just live this life because we want to experience is to be humble like Jesus, what they told me, which I'll never be humble like Jesus, but I get it. Yeah,
I was
I
an infection in my last life.
No, but I think we have choices, a girl or a boy or this and that, or a cripple or England or Ireland or America. I think we have choices.
Yeah, I think you're right, but you and me.
Animals don't? I'm not into that.
No, not recently in our history, but in other words, many thousands, millions, or billions of years ago.
They worship
we had
cats.
Well, the thing is this: according to many other brotherhoods' beliefs, you go through all the stages of evolution, and you have to try to get up to a higher stage, or you fall back and start again. And each time you go higher and higher, but you fall back. And
What does that mean, though? Why would you even do that if you're all that is? Imagine you being God, right? This is my perspective on life.
That's the thing. Well, why did God want to separate himself just to become man? There's also.
Why not? He's bored. I'm bored.
As well.
We're all parts of him, though. We're every single bit of him.
100% agree with how Bill is saying that it went down.
Right.
However,
opinions, yeah.
but I don't agree with what you're saying either, Dor.
Well, you don't have to, honey. I'm just saying from my perspective.
Well, no, there is a truth. I don't believe in solipsism,
Right.
Either. Because that's the Satanists getting their mind control wrapped around you. There is an absolute truth here, and we're trying to work that out. Let's not boil this down to faith and belief.
Exactly.
because
Yeah,
this
no,
is-
there's no faith
this
and
isn't
belief.
the Catholic channel. This
Right,
is
exactly.
This is us figuring out the metaphysics of the freaking universe.
Right.
All right, and there's science. There's science
It's
behind
a dual helix, I guarantee it.
I totally get that too. But I think we're trapped here. I think they came down, whatever species this was, and put a trap on us.
Well,
and
I
go to the
get
light,
told-
and you see your whole life go in front of you, all this crap that they tell you. I don't believe in that.
Right.
I totally
Most
don't
people
believe in
even
it.
think the planets, they orbit on the same plane around the sun.
It's a little
They
teeny
don't.
planet.
It's a dual helix. As the sun is traveling through the solar, or through the universe.
Yeah.
All the planets are being drugged behind it, doing a dual helix type of orbit. It's more of a corkscrew.
Yeah, but don't you all know that you've been here before? Do you all feel it, or you don't?
Yeah,
I
know.
may not have.
And I love
that
things like,
perspective.
I never thought I would come here. I would never want to have this lifetime. I would never do this. They have the pity party for one. I hate these people. It's like, really? You planned this shit. I'm sorry, but you did. It's
Right.
the way life is.
How about parallel dimensions? I mean,
Whatever it
so
is,
to
yeah, but
speak,
you're
are you living
traveling
somewhere
everywhere.
else? Right. When you sleep, when you dream, you meet these people in your dreams. Are you actually somewhere else in another dimension, actually facilitating with these people?
I would say yes, because even if it's a dream.
About reincarnation in respects to becoming an animal. All that who you are right now is in this complete package cannot be uncreated unless you really mess up and become.
How bad can that be?
Uncreated. It's
How
possible.
bad can that be, though?
It can't be.
Even if it is possible, I think we're souls. I don't think there's any way we can come in an animal form. I don't believe it.
It's not supposed to happen. Everything, which is part of what evolution, in a sense, is about, from the biological understanding and getting that into a spiritual understanding, is striving towards the next level of consciousness, which then has a biological transformation.
So you think your bearded dragon will one day become a human?
No, I think my bearded dragon one day will become an actual flying fire bearded dragon. So like
reptilian attacking other planets.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, it's got to be like, that's the whole game, though. It's got to be so exciting. Let's just put everybody in the mix.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be. My point is that if you're going, you're not compressing into a lesser consciousness. It's because there's no way to compress it per se in that respect. But what is happening is that you, as when you get back to the Godhead for a minute and you get your memories back and you look at your situation, you look at your options for reconstituting as a physical, biological entity, you can go either into something that maybe you did better and you can be a more advanced being, or you did about the same and you can come back as another human per se, or perhaps you want to split your consciousness up for a little while and grasp some various concepts. You could in theory put a piece of your soul into, like, for instance, an entire wolf pack, perhaps.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I believe that,
so,
yeah.
Because your soul, you can't just be one wolf because your soul is big for that.
And it's undimensional, yeah. It's never ending.
And it may not be where you have to feel everything that maybe it's sort of like the wolf is. You are the wolf, but the wolf is its own as well. Like, the wolf experiences all of the cold of the outdoors, and you don't. Maybe we just attach to them and sort of experience their lives, but not so completely directly as they do. Like,
you got to think about it in the context of whenever you hear these stories about creation, where God is, creates the heavens and the earth, and He creates animals and He creates people. He's extracting that from Himself, from His own all that is. So the more of you, the more of the God that you are, you become, the more ability, when you are reconstituting, do you have to divide yourself up or maybe keep yourself on that singularity level. That's what's so cool about it, because also at the end of the day, even though we're all individuals here, we're also all connected to particular streams of the Godhead in what we call the Oversoul.
Absolutely.
With that being said, we are subdivisions of a greater being.
I still don't believe the animal part, but yeah, I get that.
That's what I'm afraid of, because we will never lose our individuality, but we will never lose our origin from our singularity either. And that's what makes so much fun. And
how many of you on this call knew when you were a baby that you didn't want to be on this planet? Raise your hands. Anybody?
I was about 11.
No, when you didn't want to be here, you were like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I had to come down. Do you remember? 11? Okay. Anybody else? I was 3.
I was mad at my mom for not giving me wings. I wouldn't talk to her for 3 days straight. I would not. I was like...
I was like 2 or 3 years old. I talked to my mother. When I could talk, I talked really young, but I remember sitting on the hump of the Cadillac, looked at her, I said...
What frustrates me about living on this planet is that I've seen very little of it with my own eyes. I would love...
Oh, how unfortunate.
...resources to travel. Because you know what? Places like the Amazon look beautiful. Places like...
It's gorgeous. Go to Italy. Go somewhere.
I want to go to these places myself. See them with my own eyes. Touch them with my own hands. I love the fact that I'm on this planet. I hate the fact that I've only been allowed to experience less than 1% of it.
Doesn't there one spot?
1%? Yeah, it was your deal, though.
So, please.
You like this
deal.
radioactive mud ball? You can have it now. It's wrecked.
Well, that's the point. It's your intention.
I'm here.
Wherever he wants.
Look, maybe the reason why this place is a radioactive mud ball is because that's how you like seeing it. You know, if my yard's a mess, I go outside and I pick up the crap in the yard and I throw it in the dumpster and I recycle aspects of it, or I clean it up and I turn it into a statue or something. I don't just let the crap sit there and fester.
You know what? Here's an idea.
Sharing the house with somebody. Guy, I'm sure have to be in an agreement.
Okay, wait. I think Wingman's talking. Who's talking?
No, I just
Sorry,
wanted to say, can we try not to talk over each other a little bit? We're just getting.
I'm just listening.
Okay, carry on.
Carry on.
Yeah, sorry, Steve.
I love his voice. Carry on.
But yeah, good point, Steve. And I was half joking, but I'm still mad at compared to what it could be. But
sure, is it too? Somebody screwed up our yard.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, this is not just your playpen, Mr. Rothschild. That is my yard too. We are not in agreement about what you did with that yard, and we're certainly not in agreement with how you're handling what you did to that yard. So go clean up Fukushima with all your scalar radiation
Akademai
and all that crazy crap you can hide
I don't
from.
get a Steve Travesty's house.
No, Cashier, he has a cure for that.
At
So.
his yard.
Well, here's a theory.
It's not the Fukushima, it's just the experiences. That's all it is.
I have a theory, just a curiosity. I do not believe this, but I wonder if nuclear particles, the particles themselves, maybe even the radioactive neutrons also, but I mean like the cesium itself. Let's say it's actually
134
boosting
or 137.
238 maybe. That's not cesium, but
Okay.
But okay, let's say most of us actually could benefit from it, but every 10th person just can't handle it, and it overdrives us, and that's why cancer forms, because we just can't compensate. But normally it might actually help us and boost our adrenal glands and boost our muscles up, and anything it kills just dies and kind of falls out of the body.
What do you want to do?
Yeah,
you want to live longer on this planet? I don't get it.
Ever good for you.
I'm just
radiation,
wondering
we're
if
actually
it's
part of radiation. Radiation is not the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm with you on this one, Bill. I think there are certain physicalities or energy entities that radiation would be fine. You suck it in. In fact, it was you, Dory, that said you suck it in a nuke, like it was a smoke or something, like it was a hit.
Our bodies are nuclear. They are nuclear. We fight.
You guys are crazy.
No, but it really is. I mean, they prove that many times in different ways. Our bodies produce things we need by fusion, actual fusion, like nuclear fusion.
Why don't I ever read stories about lab rats, like all of a sudden becoming super strength or anything due to these experiments? I only read
I don't mean
cancerous
super
tumors
strength.
forming, and like the generations down the road are all screwed up and mutants.
Those are different kinds of radiation. That's why.
Yeah, some
I
is
think
not.
radiation is just radiation.
Let me give you an example. I remember in the heydays of the emergence on the music scene, the trance and dance music scene, where there was a lot of ecstasy and DMA going around, but there was a certain energy that was surrounding the environments. And I remember as that energy, and I felt it amping up in the locality. There were certain people that couldn't be around it, and if they, it's as though they forced themselves to be around it. But you could see, there were sores emerging on them and stuff like that, and it was like the energy was affecting them, just like radiation might, cause your skin to go funny and things like that. And I think the same is, I think there are levels of energetic maturity, if you like.
Yeah, the skin's the biggest organ on the body.
That can or can't be in the presence of certain energies. And like Bill was saying, it might be that, certain kinds of radiation or energy, I mean, let's say, admit that radiation is an energy, are okay.
like you're getting radiation from your cell phone. You're also getting radiation from a nuclear bomb and from a nuclear reactor having a fallout. These are all different kinds of radiation that have different mutation effects. These are all negative, but that's also by design.
Well, it gets in the food chain, too.
It's in the food.
It's cumulative.
I'm not talking about the distribution method, really. I'm just talking about the kinds of radiations and their effect on human cellular tissue. And
it destroys it.
Because you gotta understand. Look, the radiation that comes from the sun, for instance, that causes all sorts of mutations, particularly with plants. And sun radiation affects us in interesting ways as well. And even then, even the sun can be kind of harmful too. And then the way that harm is distributed has a lot to do with the composition of our atmosphere, which is a very important reason behind some of chemtrails.
Mostly chemtrail. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of people that are already psychic, like very psychic, literally can teleport or something like that. Like we have a transformational ability. Maybe people like that, which I might possibly be, could use it.
You don't know?
Not completely.
He's working for an alphabet agency. We all know this here at the station.
I know, he's a shill.
Marvel Agent Shield. The clairvoyant doesn't have any special powers. He's just a shield agent with clearance.
I think it's all different for all of us. I don't think it's the same. I think we all go through our own experience. Like, if I'm psychic, what I see, you guys don't see. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's only for the people that call me. Like, they need help and I can go there. What you're feeling, Steve, I know she has to go to bed. She's a nurse. And she has a year of paperwork that she had to do because she hasn't done her paperwork for a year. She helps, like, the pregnant people with kids and stuff, the young teenagers. That's what she does. She's an in-home nurse.
Thanks for calling in, Lioness. That's our
She's
house
so
nurse
cool.
here at Revolution Radio.
Well, I called her. I said, you got to help R3 out. You have to help him right now. She goes, all right, I'll do it. She's so cool. I love you.
She always kicks ass.
Yeah,
Thank
she's
you.
hearing us right now. I love you, Lioness. You know
yes,
it.
that was great. I actually was
cool
hoping
cat.
she'd talk more.
Well, she was like doing it good on the other station before this show.
Yeah, definitely.
She done good.
She puts
Can I
her
just
time
come
in there.
For a moment?
Yeah, go ahead, babe.
Put my hand up. Just wanted to say something with regards to when Steve Travis said, was talking about radiation, he said how it was a negative thing. I just want to throw a spanner in the works and say, have you ever thought that, because when you look at the atomic level, the atom split in the atom and there's the release of radiation or energy, so I see radiation as being quite natural within the whole design of things. And when I see that the effects of radiation on skin is to damage it or burn the biological, if you think, it makes me think, and here's the question, maybe it's the physical, biological that is not natural, and the radiation is perfectly natural and normal.
Either way, there's some kind of disharmony if
There
it's
is.
doing damage.
There's disharmony
it's
if someone else is doing it to you. If it was Mother Earth doing it, it would be perfect with us. We'd get over it. We'd incorporate that in our lives. This is someone else doing this to us.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
Right,
It's
okay.
someone else doing this to us.
Yeah,
It's not
you
us
have
doing
to
it.
You have to ask yourself, why is skin cancer a 20th century?
Right, exactly.
Why, how is it that we that people in when the white man went to the desert, they didn't die of skin cancer before the invention?
Well, they didn't come up with the word melanoma yet. That's all.
That's why.
So what we're talking about is it's the dabbling that causes the damage, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's the sunscreen. They say, put the sunscreen on. That's
Yeah,
what
it's
chemicals in the
poison.
sunscreen is poison.
But no,
Yeah,
what I'm
you get
saying
skin
is when you start messing with nature is when the damage starts to occur.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
We'll get an mammogram, and
We do perfect it
you're
eventually,
going to check
but
for a tumor, but it's going to create one,
It's
too.
not like smashing your boob. If you're a chick, you understand the concept. I
Smash
was
it and
40
put
years old.
radiation through.
They smashed my boob, and I have big boobs, by the way. And all of a sudden, my gynecologist said, "Oh, you have to go next door tomorrow. You're going to be 40." I said, "Oh God, the mammogram. I never had one." And all of a sudden, they told me I had
Yes,
breast
ma'am.
cancer. I had breast cancer. That
Yeah.
minute, I had breast cancer.
mammograms cause breast cancer. They
No, it
literally
was my first mammogram.
Yeah.
My first mammogram, and they put you in the special room with all the girls with the turbans on their head, because they already had cancer. They had no boobs and shit. I'm watching this.
Chemo because they have no hair. Yeah.
And I waited in this room with a TV. Once you see the TV, you know you're screwed. And I went into the doctor's office. I just met Dan at the time. We didn't get married at that point. We were boyfriend and girlfriend. He was back east. I was here. I said, I am not going to put up with this. Take it off. Cut it off. Do what you have to do. I'm not going to put up with this. You're not going to scare me. I refuse. My first mammogram my whole life, 40 years old, and I got breast cancer? You got to be kidding me.
Look what Angelina Jolie did to all the little girls' minds. She went and had them both hacked off because fear that she had the cancer.
It's not even fear.
Also.
It's just showing you, look, a movie star did it, so now you guys have to do it too.
And I don't even believe
they're taking everything away from us. Yeah, they're taking everything away from us.
Yeah, and here's a good example. I of course, most guys love her.
A Disney movie that's coming out in like a month. She didn't get nothing locked off.
But I used to love her. I was mesmerized by her looks as well. Didn't have any high hopes of meeting her. But my point is, since she did that, I'm like, hell no, I wouldn't touch it. I don't want it. So there you go, girls. All you girls out there, you're learning from the wrong woman because she is no longer desirable. I do not want her, no matter. I don't care how her eyelashes bat at me.
Well, she was with that guy, Thornton. What's his first name?
Billy.
Something.
Billy. Well, actually, it's your name, Billy. Sorry.
Bill Thornton, and she used to carry his blood
on
around her neck. I mean, right then I knew she was a twisted one.
Yeah, but it's everything that's in your face is for you to learn from. Don't take this like as, oh my God, I can't deal with this. When I had breast cancer, I was like, oh hell no. And the first thing I said, was this caused by smoking? Because I'm a smoker.
You have to ask yourself that if she was raised by John Boyd...
You got to let her finish.
No, it's all right.
That.
No, the doctor said, I said, was this caused by smoking? Tell me right now. And all of a sudden, all the doctors said, in one room I had everything. My oncologist, everybody said, no, it had nothing to do with your smoking. I said, all right, I just want to know that because you're telling everybody that smoking gives you cancer, which isn't true. Telling the truth. With your atmosphere, or wherever you are, you're getting this crap.
Don't believe anything you hear, kids. We're not doctors.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they can't
exclusively. How the heck are you saying that smoking isn't causing cancer? The stuff that they put in cigarettes, like if you're just having like a cigar, like
I smoke natural cigarettes now, but no, I smoked Marlboros for years.
You're probably not going to get cancer at all, but but when you're you read the ingredients label on a pack of cigarettes?
I smoke organic cigarettes. It's all natural. It's all organic. It's only tobacco. There's nothing else involved.
Clarify that organic cigarettes don't give you cancer. Because guess what? People that get lung cancer, and they're getting it from the claim of smoking cigarettes is probably true because they're probably not smoking
Let me tell you something.
Cigarettes.
My family who died from lung cancer had never smoked a cigarette in their life.
Yeah, I see that a lot too.
Ever. Smoked a cigarette in their life.
Sales first.
So that's not true.
I'm sure you're going to get lung cancer if you're a chronic freaking smoker.
I'm not a chronic smoker. I smoke, yeah. I'm going to smoke. I have no kids.
Smoker.
What I'm saying.
Hey, whoever smokers are. What are you arguing with me?
No, I'm not arguing with you. My doctor said to me, stop the Marlboros. Can you at least do organic cigarettes? And I said, oh, God, really? Organic? Because I was so against organic at that time.
So is that natural spirits?
Well, yeah, the organic one, right? So it was like $5 more than Marlboros.
I've
all right, I'll do it.
Before those are pretty good.
Yeah, so I smoked the cigarette.
And I don't months.
It took me months to get over it. So my husband happened to buy me a pack of Marlboros. This was like 2 months ago. I coughed my lung up. I said, oh my God, this stuff is so bad for you. And my husband's laughing. He doesn't smoke cigarettes. He's like, I hate that friggin' cigarette habit you have, and you should change, and this and that. I said, I'm a smoker. It is what I am. I'm not going to change who I am.
Something you enjoy.
Yeah, I love smoking. I really do. Right. It's not like I'm like addicted to it. I just love it. I love smoking.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's like the whole emotion about it and everything. It's just. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's part of my life.
It is.
I wouldn't say like, this is who I am, a smoker. I would say. Being a smoker is a
smoker
expression. It's a part of my expression. It's not who you
whatever it is. Then I got cervical cancer. It got worse. I said to the cervical cancer doctor, I said, does this have anything to do with smoking? And they wouldn't answer me. I said, tell me if it had anything to do with my smoking cigarettes. They couldn't answer me. And I
Here's
said,
a question I got about cancer. I'm wondering, like most of us have cancer, because I always tell myself, I've had cancer since the day I was born. That way I have the will to live.
Well, it's in
and no
yourself,
one's going to tell me the will to die. I'm wondering,
Right.
though, if a lot of us have had cancer and it's healed itself and gone away and maybe
Yes.
come back and healed itself and gone away.
Right. But I think it's in yourself.
It when it's there.
I think it's in
And
yourself.
it scare the hell out of you and, you know, get you in the whole big pharma program.
You know, last night my mom and I were outside of her condo, and she's like at a big time where all the Canadians are and people from England and you know wherever. You know, everybody comes here. They're like, that's where you like congregate. You know, to come and have a great life is Palm Springs. And we were smoking a cigarette outside, and I heard this woman say to her husband, they were Canadian, you could tell their accent, "Oh, are they smoking?" And the husband said, "Mm-hmm." Didn't say yes or no, just went, "Mm-hmm." She said, "Oh, I feel so sorry for them." And I was like, who the hell are you to tell me that, like, you're feeling sorry for me because I smoke? When they told you in the 50s, all the doctors smoked in those days, and it was great. Smoke, everything's good for you, the fluoride's good for you, everything's great for you. And we believed it, like we tapped into that. I don't do it because it's bad for me. I do it because it's my habit and I like it. You know what I mean? Like, who am I going to save my life for? I have no children or anything else. Like, am I going to save my life? My aunt ran 15 miles a day. Now she had a heart attack, and her life is over. She can't run anymore. She's going to die, like, in at least 3 months. She's gone. So these people that take care of their bodies and eat all the good food and all this stuff doesn't make a difference. It's when your time is up, it's up. When you came down here to do something, it's done. I'm going to smoke and drink. That's just who I am.
We're almost
my life.
up to the top of the hour. Normally it's a
real
2-hour show. It's up to you guys if you want to continue.
Lioness is still
popular
here.
consensus.
I'm here.
You guys down for another hour?
Like 3 hours ago either.
Yep. All right, so we're going to move on another hour. We'll call it punishment for Wingman being late.
Exactly.
Punishment. Are you with the Queen?
Okay, I'll take a whipping.
See, we're going to have to beat him so severely.
Someone give him a
I'll
kiss
do
on
it.
the cheek first. Hold on.
He's so gorgeous, I'll do it.
Cheek and whisper something in his ear, too.
I love him. I'll do it. I'm in.
Or
Call me
pull
in.
his dreadlocks.
He's so cute. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? He's adorable. I was
Oh,
like,
we
I
still got
was
that one.
asleep. I mean, how can you, like, get mad at him? I was asleep. I really was. I was in traffic. I'm like, yeah, you're in traffic in your dreams.
Next time you tell me you're asleep, you better
Exactly.
have a girl in
I know.
that bed with you, brother.
Exactly.
That's a better excuse. I'll
That's correct what I
understand.
said. Is you getting laid? I'm like, I don't think so.
I said, you better not be dead. At least something good's going
Well, that's
on.
right.
hopefully.
My dad, he goes, can you help out? I'm like, absolutely. We're going to call all the friends we know.
Well, we're just begun. Everybody, if you want to get on the call before this next break, it's 347-688-2902. 347-688-2902. It's going to be your last chance because the auto server probably will not forward to me because we're going into overdrive for one more hour. So write this down.
Say goodnight to Steve Trav because he's going to bed.
347-688-2902. Who's going to bed?
Steve.
Hey, Steve, thanks for
Our baby, our smart one.
Yeah. All right. I'll catch you guys later.
All right, have a good
Take
night.
care, babe.
Have
Thanks.
a-
Hey, as far as cigarettes go, though, I do believe, the combination of bad air, bad water, bad food, stress, and everything else, I think the chemicals in particularly things like the Marlboros do build up in your
Oh, it's
system.
awful.
I don't think they just affect your lungs. I think they have a lot of effect on our brain patterns sometimes.
Absolutely. I totally believe it. I totally believe it.
And they probably do contribute to cancer in other places of the body, not just the lungs. So,
well, maybe they do, but I think it's maybe that we all had cancer cells in our body to begin with. And then whatever the route we want to experience, I think we experience what we need to experience. Breast cancer, cervical, that was my experience. It doesn't have to be your experience. I mean, come on, my first mammogram, I had cancer. Come on, that's not normal.
Yeah, but Dory, mammograms are very likely to cause most of their detected
once and
breast
over
cancers.
and over time again. And then they found out 2 tumors in my boob. So, it was like, how do you do that, Anyway, we're going to break, so.
Yeah, you're listening to the Gray Zone with Rectify, Wingman, Dorriebar, Bill Grant, Steve Travesty just left.
Yep.
We'll be back in a couple minutes with some overdrive. Everybody stick around.
Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.